Hi guys, I am Bharat Gupta. I am the fourth generation promoter of Jackson Group and I've recently started my new venture called as Musclemind. It is the world's first active leisure brand and we are planning to go global with it. And some of my hobbies are working out, reading books, doing things which test my limits, and I love to do things which helps me to come out of my comfort zone. This podcast is to share the successes, the do's and don'ts while building a brand, and to inspire the youth to help them to take the right calls while building a brand. The big vision of mine is to inspire the youth so that India can be known as the world's best brand building country. So we have Vishesh Khurana here, who is the co-founder of Shiprocket. We will be discussing the journey of how to build a brand, what all parameters are there while building a brand, how the personality traits of an entrepreneur looks like, and what are the right ways to build a brand, and how important teamwork is. Hi Vishesh, welcome to this podcast. So can I get some brief about who you are?
Sure. Thank you for having me here. I started my first company when I was 19, so no qualified background. So straight out of school, my first company was 19. Started with a mobile apps business. Sold that company fairly early in life, probably at 20. And Shiprocket is the second venture. I met my co-founders during the journey, and then in 2012 we started Shiprocket, which is which started as a different company altogether, but a couple of pivots later, now it's called Shiprocket. So yeah, 12 years in, this is the journey we have been on.
So that's fantastic to know. Like, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
You said that you didn't complete graduation.
Yeah.
So how did that look for you? Because did you follow your gut feeling there that you want to just step into right into your own startup?
I think I wanted to try out something before going further into education, and that's it. The trial went well, and the idea was doing fine. The company was doing fine, and I could see there's long way to go. So just never had the time again to go back to education.
So that's so good to know. Did this name Ship Rocket came
So
from?
we wanted to do something with shipping, and Rocket was the name that we were continuing from our previous ventures. And then it's all about what domain can you find. A lot of times you want when you want to find a brand name, it's limited to the domain name availability, and we did not want to pay for domains, so we just went with whatever easily available domains were there at the point.
So Vishesh, coming back to my venture, it is called as Muscle Mind, and it is the world's first active leisure brand. You might have heard of activewear as leisure wear. So we thought that we won't play in that category at all. We will set up our own category from India, and we will tap the global market with it. So my one big idea is the world's first active leisure category. And in your case, what was that one big idea which led you start Shiprocket?
So the goal for this company was to democratize e-commerce. So everyone should have equal access to starting an online business. Before we came in the market, it was complicated. It was expensive. You had to pay a lot of different vendors, coordinate with a lot of different companies. We wanted to make it easier and faster for every small person to get at least started. And that was the idea. And then we followed it up with all the tech solutions that we now have to make that whole process to launch an online business and run an online business cheaper, faster, and easy.
So it is, primarily technology based.
It's all tech.
It's all
We
tech,
are only
right?
a tech platform.
Okay.
So there's no ops on ground. We do not have any people on ground. It's purely a tech platform.
Vishesh, since I'm into this business as well now, primarily it's a D2C business. There are few things which I've observed in the journey. So you know the five P's, right? So there are five P's which the entire marketing team talks about. It is like people, place, product, price, and promotion. So as per you, which one was the most important for you guys or for your brand?
You can sell anything one time. People will only come back if it's quality. So everything comes back to quality and service.
So can I put it this way that quality is the byproduct of a right product? So like your P can be product in that case. So
Yes.
what I'm trying to say that in that P you chose quality.
Yes.
And I believe that it is the community building which
Yeah.
really leaves a big impact.
Yeah.
And so what's your take on this?
To community, of course. So for me, we are in a B2B business. So there is no way to market only community. So SME is a very small community of our country. You reach out, you do well for them. If you are useful to them, they'll tell their friends. And that's how you keep growing. It's very hard to continue to grow if you do not have the word of mouth and community rooting for you and cheering for you. So that's what worked for us throughout our lives. I think even for building new products, I always relied on my customers' feedback. So I would go to their office, go to their warehouse, see what they want, what the problems are, and they will tell me the problems. I'll come up with ideas to solve them. And that's how this entire tech stack has been built over the last 10 years.
What I've learned in the entire process that you have to be mentally very strong. There would be people who will doubt you. They will try to pull you down. There would be people who won't believe in your vision at all. So how did you handle all that part? And of course, there would be days after going live that you won't get success within a span of few years. It takes many years to get that profitable business out there.
Yeah.
So can you just talk about some of your mental resilience or some of your, mental strength and some of the failures you faced and how you sort of overcame them?
It's all about small wins. So when you start, you try and set up smaller goals, not become too aspirational, and also review the performance. So mental resilience comes from objectively. If you are trying to break the problem down to smaller pieces and trying to solve one small problem at a time, you eventually do get that small wins, and every small win motivates you to move forward. Personally, for me, I have not been worried about any what people think who or to show anyone to prove anyone. The goal of a business was very clear. You want to make money, you want to have a lifestyle, and in the process everything that comes to you is just the journey. So it's people might not like it, but for me personally, it never mattered. For me, it was like I want to build a company. I'm not married to one idea. Anything that works. Idea is to create significant wealth over the time of your course of your life, and whatever business works, you keep trying. So we failed. We for our first business, 3 years, then we had to shut it down. Second product, two again 3 years, we had to shut it down. First 6 years was a journey to explore, and seventh year we finally found Shiprocket and then started scaling Shiprocket to where it is today. So it's a journey you take in the process, but learn from every failure for sure.
Many brands they play with valuation, many brands they play with profitability. In my case, I want to make Muscle Mind a profitable brand. I'm not going to play with valuation at all. And so like many of the brands they are like unicorn brands out there, but they play with valuation. They have a very good top line, but they are negative where the bottom line is concerned. So what's your take on this? Is valuation more important or is it a net profit which is more important here?
This valuation is not a new concept. We have a whole stock exchange running over this. The business is of a nature where it can absorb capital and return 10x back. It can absorb capital and 10x back. Then of course everyone makes money in the journey, and you should be valued at a certain price. And every time you invest, you are not profitable because you are always investing behind capital investments, all these investments. So both are important. And if you want to build a large business, of course, profitability will be the core one, but the journey will take its course.
And what I've seen in the entire process so far that performance marketing is the key here. And the day you stop performance marketing, your sales can go down drastically. And if you do organic marketing, the journey of you building a brand is quite slow, but it will be more sustainable.
Community is a brand building exercise. It's a over time, it takes time. It is a branding exercise which stays longer as well. It takes time to build and stays with you longer as well. Performance marketing is something that you live on every day, because if you are in a D2C brand, that is what will get you in front of people. No other way. Because you are an online brand, that's the only way you will be in front of people. So performance marketing is your daily activity, it's a regular course of business. Community is a long-term stability. Community will be long-term brand for sure. I
Also believe that team building is the most important exercise in building a brand. When I started Muscle Mind, I had all wrong people on board in terms of they couldn't get my vision right. After that, I myself started, going on LinkedIn, searching for the right candidates who could, get my vision right. And I had them on board and it gave the very good direction to my brand. So in your case, would you give your team the most amount of
100%.
credit out there?
100% credit goes to the team.
It's the team.
My job was to get the right team. I think that's where I stopped. Everything else they have executed,
Right.
and I just let them execute.
It's a journey of good to great.
Yeah.
And in that journey, a team is the one who, takes
Absolutely.
that lead. Few things which I personally look at when I'm interviewing a person. I mean, you get to know after, talking to people that whether they are saying the right things or they're trying to fake it out.
Yeah.
So do you look at these things at all or
Yeah, I
no?
think for me, I've relied on the other thing is about his reference checks. So if you can always talk to the individuals who he has been working with, and you always move on in life. But if someone leaves me and we had a great experience working together, I will always be fair and responsive. So reference checks has worked well for me from a lot of reasons, because you get to know a lot because someone has had the experience.
There was a very interesting thing you said that you make your decisions based on data driven facts. And I believe that, we should follow our gut feeling more than data, because some of the best decisions in your life you'll take by following your own instinct. Me starting this brand, building a team, and trying to cater to the premium market is all the gut feeling which I'm trying to listen to here. And of course, it is backed by some data, but I don't follow data trends a lot because many of them can be false as well. That how the market would look like 5 years, 10 years down the road.
Starting a business, category space, market size, TAM, yes, it is a mix of data and gut. When you're hiring people, no data. Then it's about do I feel this guy can actually do well for me? When you are going about sourcing or styling, then there's no data. That's your personal style, that's your personal sourcing, that's your personal designing. Then it's all gut and your talent and skill. So it's a mix of when and where you're taking the decision.
When you are like starting off something new, a new business or a new idea, or if you have a new goal, for that you need your gut feeling and you need your intuition to be very strong, because you might come up with something very new and you might not have enough data out there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the operations, the performance, and when it comes to the inventory management, marketing channels, what products to sell where, so that is all data driven,
Yeah.
and that will help the company to become more profitable as well.
Yeah. Probably that's how it's done.
That's it is done most of the time. So the third part, which is common in every entrepreneur, is work-life balance. And right now I'm having a very hard time balancing my work life and my family life. There are days where I have to be at work. There are days when I'm with my family for so many hours. But the ratio is like 70-30 or like 80-20. So how was it for you?
For many years, my life didn't matter. I was a single guy. What life or family or what other things I have in life except work. Then I got married. My wife understood. She's like, she used to come to office to catch up. We used to spend time in office, and then you find ways to do things. But she became part of the journey. Then I had kids, of course. Now they cannot be part of my journey. So now my priorities have changed. So you'll always plan around it. But your first priority up until you reach a certain scale will have to be work. The whole point of working so hard was you can now take a step back and let the work do the work for you. And that's time stage of life always.
So since you have entered the next phase of your life, you are married, you have one kid. Similarly, in my case, I'm married, I have one kid as well. So the one thing which I have observed, that I became a better person in terms of taking better decisions in my life after having my kid.
Yeah.
And it made me a better, mature person, a more responsible person, and all thanks to him that I learned the value of hard work. Is there some fun facts about you that after getting married, like what personality changes were there in your case?
I just became less obsessed to my work actually. For me, I did all of the things. I think we planned having a family after I decided that yes, I am well settled and I can afford to take a month off and my business won't go anywhere. So till the time I did not have that in place, I would have not started it. So I did for it was a personal choice where now I feel I'm settled and I want to spend time with my kids. So yes, I became less obsessive about wealth and work and more towards spending time at home with family, and that's it.
Vishesh, last but not the least, what's your take on lifestyle brands? Like fast fashion based or like performance based, athleisure wear based?
I think after COVID, I think we are a country where people have started focusing a lot on their health, and we are also a young country. So this is definitely one of the categories which is going to pick up a lot.
So Vishesh, one thing I want to know from you, that packaging plays a very big role while building a brand. It leads to experiences, it leads to better storytelling. So what's your take on it?
Packaging is important for two reasons. One, your product should reach your customer safely. So first step is to make sure your packaging is adequate and designed well for product safety. Before it looks beautiful, it's very important. It should stay beautiful by the time, because it's going to take a lot of hit till it reaches a customer throughout the logistics supply chain channel. The other will be what is your AOV. You're limited by your selling price. How much can you actually spend on packaging design? So that's a very important one. It is definitely important. The experience does change. Uh, the biggest brands sell luxury brands is all about packaging. The inside product remains the same. How they package it changes obviously. So when you're selling watch for a couple of millions, you just pack it to the next level because you can afford to. But if your IOV doesn't justify it, you can't.
Right.
Packaging is an experience, obviously, but really depends on the unit economics of it.
Like just to sum it up, packaging does play a very imperative role in terms of a better experience to your consumers and a better storytelling as well. Thank you so much, Vishesh, for being here and spending valuable time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this podcast. I hope you liked it. And if you have any feedback, any comments for me, and what you would expect next, please drop it in the comment section. And please stay tuned while we start with our next podcast very soon. Thank you.